Yeah, so it's interesting because stress is something that affects us all in different ways. I think sometimes we can feel as if we're unique in our conditions and the stresses that we're experiencing. But here we are in this room. We're all different people, but each one of us experiences stress. Our friends and family experience stress. Pretty much everybody we know is experiencing some level of stress. Sometimes it can be quite sort of mentally disabling, so we can't even function, that we feel so stressed. Other times it's just a low level that's continuously with us. Yeah? Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay. But the problem with stress is that it is not very good for us. Because it makes our body ache and become unwell, and it creates a lot of mental tension within the mind, and then our mind feels very uncomfortable. So our body becomes uncomfortable to be in, our mind becomes uncomfortable to be in, and we experience our world in a very negative way because we're experiencing so much stress. Then what can happen is that we think that in some way there's something the matter with us because we don't feel like we're functioning how we should. Do you know what I mean? So then unfortunately it tends to lead to feelings of being discouraged and despair and depression. I don't know why they all begin with D, but they do. And, just these feelings that are just very common, aren't they, for our modern world. And it just seems that to live a life where we are just stressed all the time is a waste of a life, really, don't you think? And I don't think we choose it. You know what I mean? We don't wake up every day and think, okay, today is whatever day it is, and I'm going to be stressed all day. And I'm hoping that it'll accumulate more and more tomorrow, and the next day, March, I see, more stress coming in. We don't want it. We don't like it. It's not beneficial to us. It never solves anything, does it? I mean, have you ever found that if you've allowed yourself to get really, really stressed about a problem, that you find the solution to it? I don't think so. And it's interesting, like if other people come to us and they're very stressed, they experience a high level of stress, and they're dealing with issues, the first thing we encourage them to do is to relax. Don't you think? Because it's only when we relax more, mentally and physically, that we'll then be able to find the clarity and then the answers perhaps to the problems that we have to experience will start coming. Yeah. So we need some clarity, and clarity is like a clear mind. We need a clear mind to be able to navigate through this modern world that we have. We need a clear mind. We need good problem-solving techniques because it's hard living in these modern times. That's my experience. It's tough, and it's not always easy to know whether we're doing the right thing, and we never know what's coming, and we're not sure whether the ways in which we are dealing with things is correct or incorrect, and we can't really work out what's going on for other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to negotiate our modern world, to navigate through it in a way that we feel that we are successful. So what's holding us back is this tension, this mental tension within our mind. So the first point I want to make is that stress is a normal reaction for human beings living in our modern world. All right, so it's normal. There's nothing the matter with us because we get stressed, but it's not helpful. So therefore, we need to look at ways in which we can work to slowly reduce it and then eventually eradicate it so our mind doesn't produce that high level of stress that is so unhealthy for us. So stress happens. It's funny, it feels like I wasn't stressed and now I am, but actually it's accumulative. Do you know what I mean? Like it's slow, it's almost like dripping water, isn't it? You know what I mean? And then suddenly it just feels as if your mind is completely filled. Yeah. So it's like we're going from one day into the next day, into the next day, and we're slowly just filling up our bucket of stress. but we don't necessarily register it until it's really full, and then we feel really tight-minded. So what we need to do then is to get in there at this when it's beginning to accumulate. Yeah, so we need to work out ways how we get in there when it's beginning to accumulate and let it go. But we also need to work out, well, what is it within our mind that is producing the stress? Yeah, so we need to work out ways of how we're going to let it go. But we also need to work out what it is within the mind that is producing this level of stress that we're experiencing.